Hi folks, welcome to this video, Some Frontier video. Now, it's, today is, it's the 8th of December 2012, but only just, because the time is currently 11:58 PM. Now, I've managed to install a hard disk in my ThinkPad with a couple of minor issues. For examples, I've not been able to use the retaining clip or any of the screws. Also, I think that the part that I've got wasn't an IBM original, because the IBM originals look different, which kind of leads me to believe that maybe the Westlife was right, that the hard disks are proprietary. In fact, the connector is longer than the usual standard IDE connector on laptops, and it does use the additional pins on laptop hard disks, which, to be honest, I always thought were jumpers. But it seems to work anyway. And to be honest, you know, maybe a third-party part. But at the end of the day, if it gets a regular hard disk working in a ThinkPad, then, you know, I'm all for it. Because I'm guessing the IBM OEM parts are going to be pretty rare. And Westlife, if you want to try this on any of your older ThinkPads, you know, I'd recommend you do so. You know, just kind of look for, I think it was a 560C that you had. Well, look for a 560C hard disk caddy. Seriously, go ahead. You know, if it's a difference between being able to use your old ThinkPad and not, then, you know, I'd say go for it. Anyway, if you just bear with me a minute, let me kind of show you what I've done. It's kind of lifting the bonnet on a car. You know, if only this stayed up, it'd be brilliant. Although I think I have killed it. So this is a hard disk caddy. Now this bit did kind of come stuck up like the other way, but you know, it actually does bend down. This is a hard disk caddy. It's kind of got the metal bit facing up the way. Then in next to it we have the battery and then the floppy drive. All of these can be removed, but personally I'd recommend you switch it off before you even gave all that a go. But yeah, the hard disk that's installed is the original 6GB disk out of the PowerBook, because that is IDE. So basically what I'll do is I'll just kind of let that fall. Excellent. So what I've done is I've used my faithful PC card CD-ROM drive to copy the Windows 95 files over. So now what I'm going to do, because I really don't like installing Windows 95 directly from a PC card CD-ROM drive. You know, if a computer's got a PC card CD-ROM drive, I like to have the Windows 95 files on the computer, because it's just that bit harder to access the files on the computer. And I made up a Windows 95 boot disk with the drivers for this on it. It's quite easy with the Arcos software. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to, you know, come on, Control-Alt-Delete, and hopefully it'll switch on with the MBR. Now, it does come up with a wee error on here, but I'm guessing that's to do with the BIOS or the time and the date. Yes, it started. So, as you can see, there's nothing on here, but what I'm going to do is go to CD, Windows, CD, Windows, /options, /cabs. That's where OEM original. Oh my goodness. that's not went well. Let's try this. CD options, CD cabs. Hang on. Typo. How I managed to... Oh yeah, that's what I did. Because I obviously CD and then just use the arrow key. Okay, so that's all that sorted. This is where original equipment manufacturers usually put all the contents of the Windows 95 CD. And when I say the contents, I basically just mean everything in d:/win95. I don't mean anything else in, like, you know, value add or anything like that. Well, here's the problem. I believe the PC card release mechanism on these slots are broken. So I'm going to have to do it the redneck way, and I really don't like doing that, because it can't be good for the slots. Whoops. What we're going to do now is go into setup. It's going to give me a row for not being able to run ScanDisk. Look, there is no extended memory driver installed. To press enter to continue, press escape. It can continue without himem.sys, so that's what I'm going to do. The version of Windows 95 I've chosen to install on here is 95B, and that's pretty much what I choose for every installation of Windows. I mean, this is a 6 gig drive, I can format it in FAT32, I can take advantage of it. So what I'm going to do now... Alright, take it easy. And because I've made a C:\Windows directory, it's going to ask if I want to install Windows.000, and I'm going to select no, and just install in C:\Windows. It already exists, and we continue files in this directory may be overwritten. Yes, that's fine. Nothing that I put in that directory will be overwritten, I can promise you that. But thank you for warning me all the same. Okay. Yeah, I might never have done this before. So, what I'm going to do is go down to custom... I do all this by keyboard. Sorry guys, I can't give you my CD key because it was a personal friend of mine who gave me it, and to be honest, yes, I know that Microsoft are probably not looking for Windows 95 keys anymore, but a couple of things. Microsoft Windows, whichever version, is still licensed software. It doesn't matter that it's out of production or has been for several years. It doesn't matter that Microsoft don't support it. It doesn't even matter that they do not recommend the use of it. It's still licensed. And also, to be honest, I just wouldn't feel right. You know, because this is a friend who did give me the key, you know, in confidence. Blah 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 blah. Right, analysing my computer. Do I want to analyse anything? Would I like to look for anything? Don't look for a CD-ROM driver and network adapter, but by all means go look for a network card. Sound card. CD-ROM drive and network adapters will all be taken care of after I install Windows. That's not good. So, if Windows crashes during this point, the temptation is just to do Control-Alt-Delete, but don't. What you do is you actually physically hard power down the machine by fumbling around for the power button somewhere. and then literally just powering it off. And then what you do, you wait a wee bit, let all the components cool down, and you power it on again. And there's good reason for that, because Windows Setup will know where it kind of crashed. And when you try, see what I mean? Windows Setup Safe Recovery. Windows Setup could not completely install Windows. We need to run Setup again and choose the safe. You need to run Setup again and choose Safe Recovery when prompted. If you selected Setup from Windows, type when to restart Windows and run Setup again. Do not delete any files or reconfigure your system. Okay, so I mean that's fine. So again, I'm not doing anything. I'm not going to add the HiMem.sys driver in the hope that I'm going to make things better. I'm going to run it exactly like it was before. I mean, for another thing, I know Windows 95 Setup can run pure fine without that driver anyway, so, you know, Windows is going to add it when it installs, so, you know, why should I put the effort in? Windows 98 Setup will run fine without that driver. It'll even run ScanDisk, just, you know, FYI. Again, going to accept the license agreement, and now this is going to come up. And what I'm going to do is use Safe Recovery. Setup has determined that hardware detection failed to complete properly. You can continue your setup until detection completes successfully. The problem encountered with detection will be skipped when setup runs detection again. Well, I think that's pretty considerate of it. So what it's going to do, it's going to check the hard disk. Obviously it's going to, you know, see if there's any programs already installed, which, to be honest, there weren't. All I did with the hard disk was just copy the Windows 95 setup files over. Again, going to need to put the product key. What a tense moment that was. So basically this is just kind of skipping over the section. So basically, I mean, I didn't ever plan this. You know, I kind of expected setup to run flawlessly like it usually does. But I mean, I have had this problem before. So that is how to get around the Windows 95 hardware detection errors. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and install everything. Why am I going to go ahead and install everything? It's quite simple. It's because I literally can. Right, I'm just going to set that at the moment. Okay, what we're going to do is we're just going to go for VGA, British English. And then what I'm going to do for monitor, so I'm just going to go plug and play monitor. No startup disk because I've already got one and it's customized. And, well, here is a point where you go and make a nice cup of tea. And to be honest, this is a laptop, this is 120 megahertz. And I do believe 32 megs of RAM. So a cup of tea, I would say, is the right thing to do at this point, because it is going to take a wee while. So I'll group back with you once everything's all hunky-dory. So, there has been quite a time jump, but thank you to the magic of video editing, you guys wouldn't really know about it. Apart from the fact that it's actually daylight outside. It is now December the 9th, and it is basically 12:29. And to be honest, last night when I started making this video, I tried to ignore how tired I was, because I was feeling a wee bit peely-wally, but well, I just kind of had to throw in the towel. So after the first stage of Windows 95 setup completed, I shut the machine down and went off to bed. However, now I've completed this. Well, I've actually completed Windows 95 setup. It seems like this computer keeping time pretty well. It got the date right, but it didn't get the time right. It thought it was about 2:10 in the afternoon. So anyway, what we're going to do is start into Microsoft Windows properly for the first time. Starting Windows 95. Must admit, I do like the LED, the LCD screen. I think that's pretty cool. Reminds me of my friend's Fujitsu Lifebook. So it is quite quick, actually, is this machine. So naturally, there's no drivers installed, and I was right. It's a 32 meg machine, registered to J Wakefield at J Wakefield Computers. So a few things that need installed. I think one of the first things that needs to be addressed is, for some reason, Windows 95 always likes to disable the PC card slots. I mean, I think I've only had it the one time when it's not done that. And I think that was on the Dell Latitude CPI. And for some reason it's disabled the serial port. You'll remember, well, you'll have a better chance of remembering than I will because you've just seen it. Whereas for me it happened last night. This machine did crash during the hardware detection phase of Windows 95 setup. So I'm wondering how much of this stuff would have been detected normally, you know, by Windows 95 had it not crashed. So I've managed to re-enable the ports. I'm guessing to be able to access the BIOS setup on this, it's going to need a disk. IBM computers generally did. I mean, whoops-a-daisy. Oh yeah, PC card slots setup like to switch the machine off. Well, that's inaccurate, because it's not currently there we go. There's a way I say it's not currently accessing the floppy disk drive. Goodness sakes. So now that the PC card slots have been re-enabled, oh wait a minute, that's not right. The device is not present, not working properly. See, now that's wrong. And I know it is. I know that's wrong because last night I installed, well, I used the PC card slots to copy the files. If there's anything wrong with these PC card slots, it's that there's no as the push button mechanism for getting a cards out has it's spent. But that's all that's really wrong. Using this laptop, I think I can tell it has lived, you know, quite a hard life. Oh well, that's a good sign. The CD-ROM drive has immediately powered up, and the new hardware found wizard came up. And that is another advantage of having the Windows 95 files on the hard disk, because how else would I have installed that CD-ROM drive? So, what I'm going to need to do now is I'm going to need to go to Lenovo's website and get the drivers for this. And Lenovo, even though they didn't make these ThinkPads, they do keep the drivers for them. So, I mean, that's really quite good. I do like that about Lenovo's website. They do keep the drivers for all the old ThinkPads. It's basically how I've been able to get all of this lot going. Okay, that's probably going to mean that what I'm going to need to do now is look underneath and get the model number. And I think the best way to do that is to power it down completely, unplug it, and then, yeah, do it that way. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'll group back with you once some drivers have been installed. Okay, so there seems to have been a slight setback. For once, after basically waxing lyrical about how good I think Lenovo's website is, they've let me down! There's no video drivers. So I'm wondering if the video drivers are present in Windows 95. So what I'm doing is I'm running the Found New Hardware Wizard. Because, I mean, this is the sort of thing that might have actually been picked up in Windows 95 setup, but wasn't. So, yeah. Now, I was just thinking about this, and this is kind of why I started the camera rolling again. To a lot of people, some of these parts are going to look odd. For example, when did a hard disk drive have a front? Well, back in the 80s, that's exactly what happened. Especially with the full height drives that you would get in IBM PCs of the day. Especially with things like the 5150. The hard disk drive would actually have a faceplate, so you'd be able to see it from the case, obviously. And then on the hard disk itself, it would actually have the LED. The hard disk Seek LED wasn't actually on the case. Then, of course, you've got this device, which is, I can only assume it's a modem. And this device, well, we don't use long thin ports anymore, not really, but hopefully people still kind of recognise this as an expansion card to a computer. I'm just trying to think what that could actually be. My money is on it's a SCSI card. I mean, you could get parallel port expansion cards if you really, really wanted. But I think, you know, back in the day, SCSI... I mean, Macs ran on SCSI. IBM, well, business computers like to run on SCSI. So SCSI would have been, you know, quite a sensible update to have. So anyway, I'm just going to let this roll out and see what happens, and if I can't find any VGA drivers, hopefully I should be able to get some somewhere on the internet. Or at least pull up a spec sheet for this machine, so I have an idea of what I'm looking for. So Windows has not found anything for this system. Okay, well I'm not licked yet. What I'm going to do go to display adapter. Now this might not work as effectively as it would in later versions of Windows, but what I'm going to do is update the driver. Do you want Windows to search for the driver? No. It's not found it. Didn't think it would, but again, it was worth a try. Okay, well it looks like I'm going to have to do this manually. At least I can find an audio driver. After having poked the the Lenovo website into, you know, sorting me out one. But, yeah, I'm not one to be beaten by laptop drivers. So, yeah, we'll see how this goes. Well, I found out that this machine has a Trident 90... Let me just kind of see that there. 9385 driver using the ThinkPad specification sheet. This is a brilliant resource. M-Wave DSP sound card. It's quite interesting to note that the largest hard disk that you could actually get at the time for this computer was a 2.1 gigabyte. So I guess mine's not that original now, it's got a 6 gig disk. Internal floppy drive, CD DVD none. There is some infrared and the model number is a 760E. Let's see if I can... What? No, it doesn't have... No, doesn't have a weight. Apparently it just weighs nothing. What I've done on here is I've actually just installed the Trident Super VGA driver. That actually worked with my... Oh, what's this? It seems I have a desktop wallpaper. That did actually work on my 2001 custom built because that had an onboard Trident Cyberblade 3D on the motherboard, which was awful nice of it. Do you know what? I'm going to keep that image, but I'm going to install PaintShop Pro, probably an earlier version, just to have, you know, just to be able to do it, you know, so I can do it at proper size. Come on. So I wonder how much space is left on this disk, because the program's only 530k. The driver program. Oh well, you're fine. Now, when you're working with floppy disks, make sure to close out of anything before you eject it. USB and even CD-ROM disks are handled a lot better by Windows, but still, you know, if you're ejecting media, make sure you close out of anything. Explorer windows, things like that, before you actually eject the media, because, you know, Windows isn't going to nag you. Wow, when was the last time I was on a computer that had to send to 3.5-inch floppy A as an option? That's the driver installed. As you can see, I'm getting high colour at the monitor's native resolution of 800 by 600. So that's really good. All I need now, I think, is the sound driver. And let's have a look. Yes, I need the infrared driver as well. Yeah. I wonder if this is a sound driver. The soundy, cardy thing. Yeah. There is a strange issue now that RunDLL32 crashes when it opens the display control panel. I wonder if it happens on any other control panels. Well, that was no good, was it? Seriously. Nope. I don't think it happens in printers. Doesn't happen there. Or there. Or there. Or even in workgroup post office nonsense settings. So it literally just is the display control panel. So it's just a wee quirk of the driver. But, do you know what, it's fine. Okay, time to get the sound driver. So here's the rest of the drivers for the ThinkPad. Oh, by the way, the display driver is also on this disc, just in case I need to do a reinstall at any point during, well, between now and the time this laptop becomes unfixable or whatever. So, let's do it. Do you know what I could really do with doing, actually? Installing the Windows 95 utilities. And there's a good reason for that. It's got the large mouse pointers. So that's what I'm going to do just now. And I'll stick it in here. Right, what I'm going to do, just copy that file over, start it, and then it extracts the installer, which is really quite easy to do. All you have to do is tell it that you want to install the mouse pointers, that yes, you accept the licensing agreement, and away it goes. And then you'll get a message saying installation complete. And then once that's done, what you can do then is you can head into the control panel, and then all of the mouse pointers are available for use. There we go. Now I can actually sort of see what I'm doing. So first off, let's install some drivers. First up, the sound driver. They told me this was Windows 95 mess. A lot of programs did use 16-bit installers back in the day. Okay. No MIDI wave sampler found. You need to install the MIDI wave sampler for the MIDI synthesizer to work. The modem speed has been set to 28.8 kilobits. Right, okay. Oh. Fallen foul of a typical 90s mistake there. Left the floppy disk actually in the drive. Do you know what? It's clouded over. I'm going to put some light on the affair. Oh, by the way, that bong tells me that a PC card has been detected. Oh, here we go. Some new hardware has been found. And what's in the PC card slot? Well, it's a CD-ROM drive. What's it found? Something to do with IBM. Now I've got to restart the machine again. I can use the armrest of this chair as a wee stand. Once again. More hardware found. IBM M-Wave audio device. How can it have found a modem? There's no modem installed in here. At least I didn't think there was. Yeah, I'm pretty confident that that's the sound working. There we go. For some reason it's taken the D drive a while to spin up. Maybe if I help it along. And here's all the M-Wave stuff. So I need to find out what's with the MIDI. And I think the best way to try and do that is to try and play some MIDI, see what happens. It says it couldn't find the wavetable or something, but I mean that's okay. If it's wavetable synth that's not working, then I'll just I'll just use FM synthesis. It's quite not a problem. Let's try playing some. See what happens. Oh my goodness, that's hideous! Wow, that is hideous! I think I would be. Oh my goodness. Okay, and now the disk drive stopped kind of seeking. That's not really helpful to me. Okay, so now we have another time jump. We're now at basically just the back of 9:20 on the morning of the 10th of December. So here we go. So I've got this ThinkPad fixed. I had to reinstall Windows because I was just having quite a lot of problems with, you know, getting some of the programs working, a lot of error messages. Still having problems with this. Every time I try and open the display control panel, it opens right enough, but it causes Run DLL32 to crash, and you know, that's got to be something to do with the driver. I don't know if it would write itself if I installed something like the DCOM 95, or I really don't know. Personally, I don't think it should need any updates though, because I mean this is a really old laptop. It came out in 1995 and had Windows 95 as an option, so it was still kind of on the cusp. So it probably would have run with Windows 95 RTM. In fact, it would have done. And that's another thing that, I was wondering if, I couldn't get the install to work this time, whether going back to an earlier version of Windows 95 would help, because at the moment, I'm on 95B. But it all seems to be fine. I've got this IBM glass background, which, while it probably might be, I'm not entirely sure, I'm not entirely sure, the era of the desktop background, but I know that it actually looks right with the machine, so, I've kind of kept it. I like it. So let's have a look. I've got some OEM info in it. IBM Corporation ThinkPad 760E with 32 megs of RAM. Also, I've not installed anything else really on here apart from the drivers. There's PaintShop Pro 4. I did finally get that to go. Whoops. I'll teach you to flip the buttons round. I use that to scale this image down to size, because this originally was 1024 by 768. So I scaled it down to 800 by 600. If I'd have only installed Microsoft Plus, I wouldn't have had to do that. I could have just said stretch. Now I've realised actually that yes, there is a modem in this machine. It was that round DIN port. It kind of looks like it could be an Apple style serial port, but I'm not too sure. I think it's more likely IBM. They kind of made it proprietary, which is a brilliant trick for you to get, for you to have to use their modems. Although then again, I don't know if the modem would have came with this machine. I did, while looking for drivers, I actually did come across an article about this machine. Now, because it's out of Wikipedia, I can't vouch for the source, but it's this machine was a range topper. Well, the 700 series was, meant to offer, the state of the art. Would explain why the first laptop computer to come with a CD-ROM drive as standard was a 755 CD. But this, it kind of offered the best technologies of the day.